Hala is done. Now we have Gautamiputra Satkarni. The next king is Gautamiputra Satkarni in the 1st century CE. Now this king is extremely interesting. By this time, what has happened is from the northern borders of Satavahanas, Shungas are gone. Shungas ruled hardly for 100-112 years, they are gone. But a new entrant has come into Deccan, that is Shakas. Shakas are now expelled by Kushanas from Central Asia. They come to Gandhar. From Gandhar also they are expelled. They come to deep in India. They come on the northern borders of Satavahanas. So this is the map. You have Satavahan domain here. Shakas have come here. Shakas have found their satrapi over here called Nasik satrapi. Is it visible? Satrapi is a ruler. Satrapa is a ruler and satrapi is the territory. I talked about it in the previous lecture. जल्दी से बता देता हूँ. Shakas followed one system where the military rule and civilian rule was fused in a province. The provincial governor is military governor and also the head of civilian administration. And the entire government is military government. Understood? So this territory is called satrapi. The province, the region, and the head is called satrap, who is controlling both civilian administration and army. Okay, he is almost like a king only, a ruler, main ruler. Nasik. So in Nasik we have a person called Nahapana, who is a satrap. And in Satavahana we have his nemesis. His name is Gautamiputra Satkarni. Now, as these Shakas come, we know what happened. Shakas and Satavahanas kept fighting for a long time. Long time. How long? Few months, no, few years, no, few decades, no, few centuries. For 200, 300 years, they are continuously fighting. Continuously fighting until the time when Satavahanas and Shakas exhaust each other out. They are almost equally matched. They don't kill each other completely, but they keep fighting. Now, do you think that what is the reason for the fight? If you read old books, it seems the reason is patriotism. Satavahanas are Indians. Nahapana and other Shakas are outsiders. They come from Central Asia. So, in old books, Gautamiputra Satkarni is shown as a great patriot who loves his motherland. Even in Telugu movie, he is like Sharanama, Ranama. So, एक तो शरण आओ या युद्ध करो क्योंकि आप फॉरेनर हो. हमारी माँ को से अपने जमीन में ले लिया अपने हाथ को. So, well, I will not deny this patriotic fervor. It may be there, not a modern nationalistic fervor, but some kind of love for your motherland is always there in every culture, in every time. Some insider versus outsider idea, in group, out group, othering, that is always there. So that won't be an issue, but that doesn't justify the process that happened that for a few hundred years they are fighting wars. So reasons are much beyond that. Reasons contain many more factors go beyond that. The 3 reasons are identified by the Marxist historians. They say one reason was the conquest of this part. It is part that is Malwa. Malwa is Western MP with the capital at the center called Ujjain. Ujjain. So Malwa is agriculturally very fertile region, and Ujjain is an important city on the trade route that is Dakshinapatha. Everybody wants to control both this. On the eastern side, here you have Panna. Panna was the diamond mine. Who doesn't want diamonds? We have Panna, diamond mines also. And on the western coast, over here, it's a control of trade route. Here we have got many ports on this western coast. Whosoever controls the ports gets the control of Roman trade. And we know that in the domain of Nahapana, one important port was Barigaza. In the domain of Satavahanas, an important port was Kalyan. Barigaza was Tungugacha, Bhadoch of today, Bhadoch. Here Kalyan. So there is a story that is told to us by Pericles of Erythraean Sea. Pericles tells us that Nahapana sent his navy, and his navy blockaded the port of Kalyan completely. So the ships of Roman Empire cannot enter Kalyan, but they have to go and stop somewhere. How long they can stay, say, high ocean? So these ships then get diverted to Barigaza. So more trade comes to Nahapana trade. Full-fledged trade warfare going on, naval trade warfare. Looking this. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is, firstly understand this entire region becomes war zone for few centuries. Both Shakas and Satavahanas almost equally match each other out. Sometimes Shakas get the territory for 30, 40, 20 years. Then Satavahanas come and take it back for next 30, 40, 50 years. Then vice versa. The seesaw keeps on happening for a long time. Okay. Here, when Nahapana has blockaded Kalyan port, Gautamiputra gets angry. He says nothing doing. He goes and he attacks Nahapana. He kills Nahapana. He kills his entire family, and Nasik Satrapi is destroyed and conquered by Satavahanas. How do we know that? From two important sources. One source is this: coins. If you go to Nasik, in Nasik, at a place called Jogalthumbi, it's a small place in Nasik called Jogalthumbi. At Jogalthumbi, we have found a hold of hundreds of coins. Jogalthumbi coin hold or Nasik coin hold. There we have found such coins. He is Nahapana. Shakas were famous for minting lot of silver coins. He is Nahapana. You look at his face, such a ferocious face. But when these coins were found in Nasik region, we have found that these coins were overstruck with the symbol of Satavahanas. In the same, why would he do that? See, the logic tells us that Nashik was under rule of Nahapana first under Nahapana. Then Satavahanas came and defeated him. They got the territory. Now, the coin, as we have already known, is a symbol of the sovereignty of kingship. In your territory, it is your coins. But you can't go to new land and suddenly change the coin overnight. If you suck old coins out of the system, it becomes notebandi. Right? Notebandi sends shocks. And people don't know new king, they don't know new coins, they won't trust new coins overnight. Jari note. So what happens? You have to change coins very gradually, one by one. But you are in a hurry. You have to proclaim a victory very quickly. Everybody should know that you are the king, not the old one. You take the old coins. You put your stamp on top of them. The face is now gone, not visible anymore. So it is called as overstriking of the coins. Whenever I find old coins and overstricken coins at any place, I know the political fortune of the region has changed. Gone from the hands of Nahapana to Satkarni, Satavahanas. But this is a very indirect evidence, although a very fantastic evidence, but still very indirect. We even have a direct evidence. It is this: Nashik Prashasti by Gautami Balashri. In Nashik cave, we have found one inscription called Prashasti. It is written by the mother of the king called Gautami Balashri. Now this inscription is also in Prakrit language and Brahmi script. But in the Satavahana domain, the Prakrit has started to modify itself. Now it is not only Maharashtri Prakrit, it is actually a Prakrit which is having many compound words like Sanskrit. So we have start to notice influence of Sanskrit here a lot. Compound words are there. Anyway, it's a minor fact, not something that you should remember anyway. This Prashasti, we have already seen two Prashastis. one in Hathi Gumfa, one in Rudradamas, Junagadh. This is our third Prashasti. This Prashasti is by his mother, Gautami Balashri. Here I will do one small experiment. I will show you how the Prashastis were written back then. Just once, will not do it again and again, but only once you will see. This is a translation of Prashasti in English. Not complete, but partial. I'll read it for you. You get a feeling of what is Prashasti. Success. In the 19th year of King Sri Pulumai Vasashtiputra, the great queen Gautami Balasri, the mother of the king of kings Sri Satkarni Gautami Putra. First she established when is she writing Prashasti? 19th year of Sri Puluyami Vasashtiputra. So the old king is dead. The new king has come to throne. It's been 19 years since the new king has come to throne. At that time, the mother of the old king is writing it. So the great queen Gautami Balashri, the mother of the king of kings, Sri Satkarni Gautami Putra, who is dead for a long time now. Who is this king? He is the king who was in strength equal to Mount Himawat, Mount Meru, Mount Mandar, the king of Asik, Asak, Mulak, Surat, Ukur, Aparanta, Anupa, Vidabha, Akaravanti, lord of the mountains, Vindhyas, obeyed by the king, circle of all kings on the earth. Remember Bahubali, Purab se Paschim tak. Same thing. So in the beginning, you announced your territorial possessions. What a great king I am because I possess all these territories. जैसे आज के दिन में अगर कोई चीफ मिनिस्टर है, वो सब एमएलए की परेड लगाता है, ये मेरे एमएलए है सारे. So at that time, these are your territories, and these territories are not false territories. They are historical names of certain geographies in India at one point of time. Like you have Aparanta. Aparanta is Konkan region, where you have these ports for Roman trade. You have Anupa. Anupa is Narmada Valley region. You have Vidabha, Vidarbha. Akaravanti, Akara Avanti. It's Malwa region. Avanti, Akara Avanti. So these names are historic names. This is and these areas used to fall under Nasik Satrapis. Now Nasik Satrapi is gone. These areas are under control of Satavahan king. And they are pronouncing the victory. Then you have next lines. The king Sri Satkarni Gautami Putra, whose face was beautiful and pure like the lotus opened by the rays of the sun, whose chargers had drunk the water of three oceans. He Samudra Toya Pita Vahana in Prakrit. He Samudra, three samudras, three oceans. Toya Pita, water and drinking, has drunk the water. Vahana, horses, chargers, whose horses have drunk waters of three oceans, that is eastern, western, southern. Matlab, he has victories in all three directions, in the east, in the west, in the south. Simple. It's just the way you write. Metaphor. Whose face was lovely and radiant like the orb of the full moon, and whose gait was like whose gait was beautiful like the gait of a choice elephant. हाथी जैसी चाल है जिसकी. राजा की बात कर रहे. So we have seen that in Prashasti, I already told you in the previous lecture that they talk about the attributes of the kings, how beautiful the king is, what great cultural accomplishments kings has in his name. In the beauty, he is like whose arms were as muscular and as rounded. He is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Dole shole bana ke baitha hai Raja. So anyway, see why I'm telling this is that it is a difficult job of historian when you say epigraphy, study of inscriptions. They have to understand what to reject and what to find useful to create history. This thing we don't care. These are just boastful assertions which have no historical validity for us. But it's a choice of historian to reject these things and pick some things from which you create history. Only. For example, let's look at things which are underlined. Who crushed down the pride and conceit of Kshatriyas. Now, Satavahanas are Brahmanas, and they're crushing the pride of Kshatriyas. Khatiya Dapa Mana Mada in Prakrit. So here Kshatriya may mean some kind of Varna rivalry. Who knows? It may also mean in a generic sense that local petty lords, petty kings are suppressed to create the first kingdom of Deccan. Then, who destroyed the Shakas, Yavanas and Pahlavas. Now, all the foreigners are clubbed in one line. Shaka, Yavana and Pahlava. Shaka are Scythians, Yavanas are Greco-Romans and Pahlavas are Parthians. They're all destroyed. But the very fact that the three foreign rulers are clubbed in one line, that shows that there is some kind of othering versus us. But I would still not call it Indian nationalism. It's a modern thing. Then, who rooted out the Khakharata race? Khakharata is Shaharatra, family of Nahapana. Its name was Shaharatra family. So Nahapana was Shaka. The Shakas are already mentioned to have been destroyed in the first line there, Shaka Yavana Pahlava. But now you are so much angry on Nahapana for creating so many problems that you specially mention that separately, that who rooted out, outrooted the Khakharata race. The entire family is killed. You will not find any more from that family person alive. And thus who restored the glory of Satavahanas. Satavahanas now again glorified. So it's खुन्नस देखो कितनी है शब्दों में वहां पे, neighboring kings. And this tells us that Satavahanas has conquered Nasik Satrapi region. And then we have typical things like how the king who is welfare king, which we have seen, welfare and religion are part there. We have the furtherer of the homesteads of the law as well as twice born. तो गरीबों का भी भला करेगा, अमीरों का भी भला करेगा. But here low and twice born is Dvija. Twice born the upper varnas, higher three upper varnas, and low are who are below that. But he furthers interest of everybody. Inka bhi or inka bhi. So I am a welfare king, Kalyana Raja. And then who is the lord of Dakshina Patha? Dakshina Patha Pati. He controls entire peninsula, Deccan. Dakshin, Dakhan, Deccan. Same words. दक्षिण से डेक्कन आया है. So this Pathapati is a typical epithet that we use many times in North India. When in later era Harsha became the king, he was called Sakala Uttara Pathapati. Here Dakshina Pathapati, you are lord of the Dakshina Patha. This is how you proclaim your greatness.